Hey, what's going on, everyone? Gillis TV back here today. I know it's been quite some time, just busy with work, but hey, it's Easter. Happy Easter to everyone watching this video. And hey, playoffs are right around the corner. Of course, started last night. Of course, the Oilers play tomorrow again against the LA Kings. Of course, people stating, hey, Kings are the better home team, blah, blah, blah. We haven't seen Edmonton's full unit ever this season, if you think about it. Even opening day, I think a couple guys are banged up still. And we didn't actually get to see a full roster plus the additions they've made at the trade deadline. So we got some news about the Oilers here happening as I'm recording this video. Good news, most of it, everyone knows guys coming back. So this one is Oilers are to activate John Klingberg off of long-term injury reserve. He is available for game one. Going with that, Evander, Kane, and Trent Frederic is still not confirmed, but is very close, and it seems like they are going to be more than likely available for game one, if not game two. I would assume with Kane's case, it is talking to the doctors and seeing if, hey, it's good to go, or if he should take one game off or so to get back into speed. So that is kind of the news right now for who's available. I believe Wallman is available as well. So going through the lines, a lot of people have, like I just said, hey, we're going up against the Kings team. Well, Philip Deneau just mentioned after the last game we played, that was our B squad. And truthfully, yes, there are a lot of names that played that game that won't be playing game one against the LA Kings. We're going to have a totally different team. That game, you had no Draisaitl, you had no McDavid, you had no Hyman. I believe Hyman wasn't in that game, but looking at the lines now, this is what I kind of came up. And I'm going to go with the fan favorite lines here, as I think we see Jeff Skinner, Connor McDavid, and Connor Brown stay together. That would be my ultimate goal, is they had chemistry. You didn't have Draisaitl for those games. Hyman was gone for games. Nuge was gone for games. Frederic, Kane were out. That line stepped it up when the Oilers needed them to be big, and they got the chemistry going. Connor Brown had 3 goals in 4 games or something like that. Skinner was playing really great. Of course, when you play with McDavid, you're going to get those chances, and these two guys were capitalizing. I think that would be the way to go if I'm Chris Knobloch. Of course, that probably will change, and Hyman will be up there. But then the second line, I got Podkolzin, Dry, and Arvidsson. This line, realistically, all year has been really good. Of course, Arvidsson and Podkolzin had tough times bearing. They had their chances, a lot of posts. I think Arvidsson's hit the most posts on the team by a forward, and he is about to break through. I think his confidence with these guys being out, getting the extra ice time, same as Jeff Skinner, has boosted their morale for them. Now the third line. A lot of people said when this player got re-signed by Edmonton for $1.5 million, it's an overpayment. Why are we paying Corey Perry? Blah, blah, blah. Well, that $1.5 million player had 30 points this year and 19 goals. So let's put Perry on the third line with Nuge and Hyman. I think that line could beat most of everyone in the playoffs' third line. That is a skillful line with some veteran leadership by Corey Perry. Nuge, of course, a veteran on his own, but I think for Nuge, he runs a line better than playing with McDavid. I think he can play more of how he plays when he's not with one of the top 2 guys. And we've seen that this year when Ryan Nugent-Hopkins had his own line. He was producing. He had, 6 points in 2 games there, and then I think it was 9 and 4 after that. So that would be the third line I would go with. Then the fourth line. This fourth line probably beats every fourth line in the playoffs. I'm going with Evander Kane, Adam Henrique, and Trent Frederic. I know some people are going to say, what about the penalty kill and stuff? Well, Rico plays penalty kill. Frederic plays penalty kill. You can put Podkolzin up there. You still have Brown. You still have Nuge. The penalty kill will be fine taking Matthias Janmark out of this equation. I don't think Kapanen has played well enough over the last 20-some games, 30 games, to break this break into the roster, but that's how I think that fourth line should go. That is a line that can hit, gets pucks deep, and can score. That is a fourth line that realistically, if the Oilers go all the way, that line I could see having 12 to 18 goals in the playoffs combined between all of them. The Oilers can get 18 goals from their fourth line, we'll say 12 goals from the fourth line, 12 goals from that third line I just mentioned of Perry, Hyman, and Nuge. That's 24 goals that the top two lines don't have to score. That's not including the power play. That's not including any shorthanded, which this team seems to like to play shorthanded in the playoffs and do really well. Brown and Janmark last year were fantastic at it. Same with now LA King, Warren Fogle, and Buffalo Sabre, Ryan McLeod. So that's kind of the forward lines I would go with if I'm Chris Knobloch. Like I said, this isn't set in stone. We probably will see Hyman up on that top line. But I think this gives really good depth down the middle from McDavid, Dry, Nuge, and Henrique. And if you want to mix and match the left wings and the right wings, you definitely can with these. If you want to try McDavid with Kane and Frederic, I just don't think if Kane and Frederic come back for game one, I realistically don't think you split them up. They're hard physical. They will get the game going, and they can score. They've proved they can score, and we've had a Evander Kane that's been rested. What? You think about when he came from San Jose to Edmonton after all that fiasco. He was well rested, showed up, and had probably one of the better career years in Edmonton there. Now we look at the defense, which, yes, compared to some of the teams left in the NHL, defense isn't the best, but it's not the worst in the NHL here at all either. So I have Wallman with Bouchard, Nurse with Emberson. Now, let me get through this before I get a comment saying, why do you have Emberson up there? Then Kulak, and now with Kulak being that guy, he can either play with Brown if you want physicalness. I think Brown plays with a physicalness that could help. You got John Klingberg, a little bit of a reliable defensive ability by Klingberg, but the offensive side is there. And then you got Troy Stecher, who's been playing a lot with Brett Kulak. Not too sure. I just kind of put Stecher in that spot for when he returns. Of course, if we make it to the second round, there's a possibility all this gets mixed up with the addition of Matthias Ekholm if he can play for the second round. So, like I said, I'm going to get a comment, why do you have Emberson as the second pairing? This kid has played all 82 games. He was the most hit defenseman. He can block shots, and he's been learning from Matthias Ekholm on the penalty kill. Now, you can double shift Kulak in that spot. We've seen it with the Oilers this year where, hey, Kulak's on the ice with Nurse, then we'll see Wallman and Bouchard or Ekholm and Bouchard, and then the next shift is going to be Kulak with whoever he was partnered up with on the D pairings. Kulak is just starting on the left side, but I feel with Brett Kulak, yes, if Emberson's having a down game, move him up, double shift him. Him and Nurse can do the minutes. We've seen that with the 5 defensemen already. Key situations, I've seen Kulak out there with Darnell Nurse. So I just put Kulak in his spot, but with that being said, he will probably jump up, play with Emberson a bit and whatnot. But those are the lines I would go with. Of course, goalies are going to be Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard. Now, with that being said, I don't think Stuart Skinner has a long leash this year. We've seen it last year where he kind of came in the next game, had a longer leash. I don't think that's the case this year. I personally think that Pickard has played well enough this year that he deserves a shot if things don't go the right way, especially in the first round and so on for Stuart Skinner. But Stuart Skinner has been showing that, hey, maybe that time off was what the doctor ordered, and he played really good against Winnipeg. He played good against San Jose. So with that being said, that's it for me today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Gillis TV. Have a good one.